Go up to the auto pen here to weigh in, Republican Alabama Senator and member of both the Senate Judiciary and Appropriations Committees, Senator Katie Britt. Senator Britt, thank you so much for joining us. He allegedly, Joe Biden, signed the most pardons by any president in U.S. history. Do you believe that? And if it wasn't Joe Biden, then who do you think it was? And will we ever get the answers?
It was the auto pen in chief, no doubt. Look, we deserve answers. The American people deserve answers. And the fact that my Democratic colleagues today couldn't show up and try to help us get those, I think tells the American people everything they need to know. At the end of the day, we know that our commander in chief, when it was Joe Biden, he was not in command. There is no doubt that he was of diminished mental capacity. And the question becomes, who was actually making these decisions? Whether it is pardons or you look at the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan that sent shockwaves not just through that region, but the entire world that we are paying the consequences for today. Whether it was a border that was overflowed by millions and millions of migrants, whether it was unaccompanied children by the hundreds of thousands that he let into our interior with no protection, whether it was fentanyl overdoses of American citizens where we had people dying in every corner of this country. I mean, whether it was, look, the inflation that was out of control. We can go down a list of things that were occurring. And what we know is that while Joe Biden was the president, somebody else was making the decisions. And we need answers to who that was.
Well, Senator, I saw part of your clips from Capitol Hill today. You talked a lot about accountability, maybe for the senior staff or whomever, was behind doing this here. What does that look like? How do you go about getting accountability?
Okay. Absolutely. Let's talk about that. Well, that's what this hearing was about today. You look at the 25th Amendment. There should have been cabinet secretaries, the Vice President Harris, who stood up and said he is unable to do his job. There is ambiguity in Section 4. My questions were, do we need more guardrails here? Do we need more definition here? Because clearly it didn't work. Or did they choose to not step up in good faith as they should? So that's question number one. Number two is senior staff. Look, I have been a senior staffer myself. When you have the honor to work in this building, when you have the honor to work to make our country better, you take an oath as well. Those people who took an oath, who chose to turn the other way, or even worse, chose to conceal this from the American people, we deserve accountability from them as well. That's who needs to be sitting in front of us. We need to know what happened, and we need to ensure that it never happens again. This has been disastrous for the American people, and I am absolutely sick of hearing my Democratic colleagues try to lecture us about democracy when the very fundamental nature of our democracy, our commander-in-chief, we know was not in command, and the American people did and continue to pay the price as a result of that.
Yeah, they gaslit us his entire presidency. Now, Senator, I wanted to turn to this. Lawmakers appear divided.
Totally.
About the United States' role in the war between Israel and Iran. Republican Kentucky Congressman Thomas Massey and Democratic California Congressman Ro Khanna, they've introduced a measure forcing President Trump to get approval from Congress before entering the conflict. What do you think about this? I mean, Massey writing in part, this is not our war, but if it were, Congress must decide such matters according to our Constitution. What do you think about this kind of bipartisan effort to kind of handcuff the president?
Look, I firmly stand with President Trump. When Iran says death to Israel and death to America, you absolutely have to believe them. Look, President Trump has tried a peaceful pathway forward. I think that is still on the table. He wants Iran to come. He wants them to get rid of their nuclear program, completely dismantle it, and clearly absolutely no enrichment. But when you're looking at this, I believe that President Trump is going to be judicious in the way he looks at this. He knows what's at stake for Americans. He believes in putting America first. He not only created this, he is the leader of that movement, and I trust his instincts on this. He wants a pathway, a peaceful pathway first, but if that is not obtainable, he will make sure that Americans are safe.
Senator, everyone's big hang-up is us getting dragged into some kind of drawn-out conflict in the Middle East. Don't you think President Trump is taking this into account?
Absolutely. And you look at how President Trump leads. He leads with strength. Look, President Trump always wants a peaceful pathway forward first. But if people want to be disrespectful, if people want to continue to put American lives at risk, President Trump is absolutely not going to stand for that. He gave them 60 days to come to the table. They chose to not engage in a meaningful, good faith way there. So President Trump is continuing to keep all options on the table.
you.